Time for another episode of Pottawattamie County Routes. Hi, I'm Todd Studer. We've talked about it before. There is it's kind of a catchphrase called the silver tsunami. And what that means is baby boomers and folks with hair my color are retiring and they're aging and they're starting to need more and more help at home. And this is putting a real strain on independent living facilities, assisted living facilities. And we brought Gene Bohnker from Assisted Living Locators back in to talk about that and to talk about what some of your options might be, whether it is for you personally needing a little bit more help, or maybe a family member that you are responsible for and you're a little bit worried about them. So, Gene Bohnker from Assisted Living Locators, our guest today on Pottawattamie County Routes. If you have a leak, a clogged drain, or need a big remodel, Waldstein Plumbing has you covered with fast, reliable service and expert craftsmanship, handling everything from small repairs to major installations. They're locally owned and trusted and take pride in doing the job right the first time. So residential or commercial, big or small, when plumbing problems strike, call Waldstein Plumbing. Visit them online at waldsteinplumbing.com. And Service Master Restore by Schmader knows how hard it is to get back to normal with property damage due to flooding, fire, or smoke. Maybe you have mold. Maybe, God forbid, you have bed bugs. You know, Cindy Schmader can help with all of that. She can get you back on the right track. So you need to keep her number in your phone, because if disaster strikes, and she's the first to tell you she hopes that it never does, but if it does, you'll sure be glad you have it. Her phone number, 402-339-9911. Gene Bohnker with Assisted Living Locators has joined us in the studio. We've made a switch over from a previous studio. I just like to switch it up a little bit.
Why not?
It's comfortable in here, though,
It's a
right?
great view. I love this room.
Yep, and we can look out across downtown Council Bluffs from looking the other direction on the opposite side of the camera. You are helping people transition from an at-home situation to oftentimes in maybe assisted living, maybe independent living, whatever their needs might be.
Right.
Because many times we just don't know what we don't know.
We don't.
And we don't think about these things.
And we don't want to think about these things.
We don't want to think about them. But it's good that you're out there doing this kind of work, because we need a resource.
Definitely.
And we need somebody that has the information and knows what options there are, because there might be some options that maybe someone hasn't thought about.
For sure. You know, these are tough talks that we have to have with our loved ones. You know, I thought my parents were going to live forever, and that doesn't happen. You and I aren't going to live forever.
No, wait. Well, okay.
You are Superman, but...
All right.
The problem is that we just kind of put it off. We don't want to talk about the tough conversations about where do you want to be buried. What are those things that we need to find out from our parents? So I am your advocate to help you walk through those tough conversations with family members, talk about what are some of the options, and to just be a resource for our community and all of Southwest Iowa. I go from Sioux City to Red Oak to Des Moines, and I just want to help my people. I was born and raised in Southwest Iowa, and I just want to help people find the best fit for what their needs might be.
Does it happen often that someone is surprised as you're talking to them and they say, I didn't know that was a way way things could be?
Right. Or I have families that said, I promised my dad I would never put him in a nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, never say never, right? That's been my standard line with raising 4 daughters. Never say never, because you don't know what's the circumstance and what is going to happen. We don't have a crystal ball to know what tomorrow might bring.
No, all very, very true. And I think that a lot of that is still the old way of thinking from the old reputation of what a nursing home would be,
right,
and going in and just dark and depressing.
Right.
And it's not that way anymore.
It's not that way. And I consider myself an educator, teacher by trade. And so I love educating families and our communities about what are the options that are out there. So independent living is a wonderful new way of life, and I think it's a great way of living your second chapter of your life. I have a lot of people that are, they're in their 80s, and they're just tired of mowing. They're tired of shoveling the snow that we used to have, and they just want to simplify their life. So independent living can provide a couple meals a day. I tell the wives, my goodness, you can be the queen. You can have meals made. Somebody's going to do the dishes. You can have your apartment cleaned, and you can go out and spend your time and energy doing the things that you want to do in the best second chapter of your life. Make it great. Simplifying life. Who wants to pay all those bills and, having somebody manicure your lawn? It adds up. And so one bill, independent living and living your best second chapter is not a bad option.
There are a lot of facilities that they have different wings depending on what a person's needs are, starting with independent living.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great because it's what we call a wraparound community. So I can start out living in independent living, have a whole community of friends, and, it's a community within a community. Well, I fall, I break a hip, and my needs have now changed where I need to go to skilled care. I possibly need to get some rehab. And so a lot of these communities are now connected to those different options where my husband can stay right there at the independent living and come across the hall and visit me in skilled care. So wonderful options to have more care right there at that same community. And then also if I need maybe just some more care with assisted living, those are great options too for loved ones who, they've been living in the farm for 92 years and they just want to stay in that home, but they're not safe and the family's worried about them. I will help the family make those choices, go on tours, see what's out there, because sometimes the mindset of our loved one is, I'm not going to be in a nursing home. I don't want to be, tucked away and not have a life. But these assisted livings really help people thrive. And I have seen, especially during COVID, where we were locked down and we didn't have our loved ones out in the community. We need social touch and we need engagement. They're having healthy meals. They're getting their medications on time. They have people coming in and checking on them. They're having activities, going on bus rides, and they're out being very, very active. And guess what? Their cognitive and mental state changes. They are thriving and they are living their best lives and living a lot longer.
I think, too, that you can also see improvements, even going from, let's say someone is independent living and they're going to transition over to assisted living. It's actually an improvement for them because now they have people that are, maybe there is a little bit of physical rehabilitation or something that needs to be included with that. Suddenly, the quality of their life has improved over where they were at before.
We kind of look at it as, our babies sometimes have failure to thrive. Well, we have adults that have failure to thrive. They're at home, they're not eating, they're staying up all night, so they're sleeping all day. We just see their whole mental health is just kind of not where it should be. And when you get into these communities and you have people that are waiting for you to show up for breakfast, and if you aren't there for breakfast, they're down knocking on your door, checking up on you, you're feeling loved and you're feeling inspired to, make that next step that I want to continue to live. I want to thrive. And so having their meals and having people checking in on them helps them live their best life. And they're happy.
Now, let's talk about some of the different options then. When you sit down and you talk to someone, I'm guessing first and foremost, you need to find out where everything is at now.
Right.
And that can require having some tougher conversations, but they also need to be upfront and honest with that in order
That's right.
to be able to move forward.
We kind of do an assessment. So I take that from the family. I also call and talk to the parent. A lot of times I have family members that live outside of the state. So they don't know what the options are here in local Pottawattamie County or around Southwest Iowa. So I kind of see what their needs might be. I help them navigate that and help them to make the best choice possible. A situation that I just ran into this week was we wanted to get Dad talking about living in independent living and getting out of an apartment complex where he was fourth floor and the elevators might go out. What do we do? We're worried about Dad. So we go to look at independent living and we start thinking about all the great options that there are for him. And he would just thrive. But then getting to know him and see him and going in for surgery for some cancer, we're like, well, maybe what's the next step? Let's start him out for success. And finding out that assisted living might be the best fit, especially because he had long-term care insurance. So that would be a way for him to pick up financially the extra care that he's going to need after cancer surgery. So just getting to know the family's needs and talking and walking them through that, we can help the family make the best decisions. And these are the options.
Are these the independent living or assisted living? Are these the two main ones that you operate in, or what are some of the other worlds that you can help folks with?
A new great option that we now have is memory care. We have the independent living, we have the assisted living, and then we have the memory care. Memory care is just a new world that treats our people with dementia and Alzheimer's with dignity and respect. A lot of the people I see kind of move through those phases. I have people that move into independent living and they live there with their husband that may have dementia or their wife, and they finally need to have more help, and they will then have the option of moving that loved one into memory care and still be in the same building. They can go visit them and see them. So it's a great continuum of care is what we like to look at, that the care that they may need down the road is going to be there. And so I like to build the families up for success. Not always knowing what the situation is going to be because we don't have a crystal ball, but memory care is a wonderful option for those that need more one-on-one help with their cognitive ability when it kind of diminishes. And they treat people with such love and respect. The communities are bright. They're cheerful. They love to have family members in there. They're going on community rides at the bewitching hour when sundowners may be happening at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So they're keeping the people engaged and out of their rooms and very happy. So memory care is a great option.
Are you still spending part of your time going and visiting with the different facilities to learn more about them? Is that still part of your, because you've been at this for a while, so I'm sure you have a really strong and complete knowledge of the different places around Southwest Iowa, but how much is still that a part of your time?
I love touring with families. That's the one thing that I can do. I can take all that burden off the families. I'm setting up the tours. Let's go see what they have to offer. I was in Heartland yesterday, and I absolutely love coming out to my rural communities and keeping up on what are they offering, what is new. Oh, you're going to build something new? This is great. And I guess I pride myself in knowing where are the openings. Because of the silver tsunami, we're going to have fewer and fewer options. So if people are interested in looking, you need to get out there and schedule some tours with me so you can see what is available and get on a waiting list, because they predict 2027, we're going to be maxed out of our places to be able to move people.
You do understand that's like...
I know, next year.
Next year.
I know. And I already see that because I'm in and out of these communities so much, and I have families that decide, okay, this is where I want to go, and they have to wait a year and a half to get the apartment that they want. And you don't even know how long it might be on that waiting list, because people that move into independent living are living longer. I helped fill a building that opened up 6 years ago during COVID, and some of those people that I moved in there 6 years ago are still living independently, still very happy, and have no plans on moving anywhere else. So guess what? The turnover isn't there, and those rooms aren't available. So we are really going to have a problem of not having enough places to move people.
Sounds like a business idea. We need to start building more facilities.
That's right. We need more affordable housing for seniors.
Right. And we are seeing some movements, I think, towards that. But from everything that you have been teaching us, it's not enough.
Never
and
enough.
The number of folks that are coming into this situation and needing these kind of services, it's growing rapidly.
It is.
And it's getting to the point now to where I think that's why we have seen a growth in the at-home nursing businesses.
You betcha.
Because someone has to fill that need.
Right.
And this is one of the ways that it's happening. Mm-hmm. And that is something, I mean, you can connect people sometimes with that too, right?
You bet. Whatever the family is, what are their wishes? Mom wants to stay in that farmhouse. Okay, let's keep her safe. What are the things that we can do to keep her safe in her home? And I have resources to all the in-home agencies, home health companies that I will refer them to, all of Southwest Iowa, Des Moines. We can connect them with the people that they need to have to come into their home.
It's got to be a tricky conversation, though, when you go into someone's home and they've been there and I'm sure their feet are dug in, and I'm not going anywhere. And to be able to reach them in a way that they can understand, that's a special skill because
Right.
you're overcoming some pretty old and
Yes,
cemented
yes.
ideas.
Oh, we deal with a lot of stubborn Germans. I'm a stubborn German myself. I dealt with my parents and my grandparents. That's a lot of pride. It is. And when I see, some of our women carrying clothes baskets up and down this basement steps to do the laundry, my heart really just, oh my goodness, this is so unsafe.
Hmm.
What can we do to get that laundry upstairs? Let's get a stackable washer and dryer upstairs. How can we help the families to keep their loved ones safe? So there's a lot of different options, and I just want to help to make the best second chapter the best that they can possibly have,
Well,
whether that be in their home or in a community.
something we'd mentioned about, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Here's a chance to find out some things that maybe we don't know. You've got an event coming up, and it's coming up actually pretty soon to go and be able to ask some questions from folks
Right.
that are in the know.
Right. We love to do our quesos and questions. This is a great opportunity because of the need that I see in the community and dealing with families day in and day out. We just don't have enough information. My parents had things well planned out, but what do I need to be doing to protect my children? So it's that constant education of all of us to figure out what we can do to prepare for our future. But our next question in queso, we're going to talk about how do you plan for your will and your POAs? Who's going to take care of making the medical decisions for you? We're going to have Zach Winter, who's an attorney here in Council Bluffs, works with a lot of our families. He's going to be there to tell you what is the best thing to start planning for your future, and maybe asking your parents or your loved ones, do you have these things taken care of? Where do I get access to this? Start thinking and planning ahead now. We're also going to have Steve Nelson. He's a financial advisor with Ameriprise. He's going to talk about how do you get that nest egg and how do you start planning for that future. Maybe it might be your retirement, or how do you plan for long-term care? If you're going to need long-term care, you may need to think about getting a long-term care policy that is also an insurance policy that will have life insurance attached to it. So lots of different options to start thinking, how will I pay for my care down the road? There's tricky. And then also another big issue is having your funeral plan. My grandpa wanted a wooden casket. And you know what? He had his funeral planned out. He told us exactly which casket he wanted. And when he passed away, that was a relief to the family to know what his wishes were. So we're going to have Robert Marshall from Hoy Kanowski come and talk about getting those prearrangements made so your family members know what you want and what are your wishes. So it's going to be held April 9th at 5:30 to 7. We have great nachos and queso. And it's going to be at St. John's Church, 633 Willow Avenue in Council Bluffs. We would love to have you sign up, and you can sign up with on my email, which is jeanb@assistedlivinglocators.com, or give me a call at 402-690-5467. We'll get you signed up for this free questions and queso that has a lot of wonderful information to bring to you in the community.
Come on out, get some nachos. I see a picture of guacamole there. That's what keeps drawing my eye back to it. So
yeah, for sure. It's good queso too.
Yeah. And so again, this is coming up on April 9th, and get it on your calendar. This is a good opportunity. We talk a lot about that silver tsunami and the aging population, but guess what? Us and the generation behind that, these are conversations we need to be having right now too, because it's easy to think, oh, that's still so far down the road that I don't need to worry about it. But
a blink of an eye, and we're thinking about retirement. I was worried about raising 4 kids, and retirement was the last thing in my mind. And now it's here, and it's like, oops. So I encourage you to, even if you're 20 and 30, think about coming out and getting some of this education, because we do need to start planning for our future. Because if we don't plan, who will?
Yeah, it's just it's going to happen regardless.
Hmm.
The time is going to go by regardless of what it is that we do. 10 years from now, it that time is coming.
Hmm.
So if we don't make a decision now, then we're just going to be in a worse position then. And it's good that you're out there doing this work, Gene.
We
Thank you so
try.
much for seeing a need and filling the need and helping folks out around Southwest Iowa. And we're grateful for everything that you do, and also grateful for your time and coming in and talking to us
You
today.
bet. Appreciate you. Thanks so much.
Here on Pottawattamie County Routes, we explore the places that make our region home and the people who keep them connected. That is why we are proud to feature Marnie Elkhorn Communications, your local communications provider, serving Marnie, Elkhorn, Walnut, Avoca, and a lot of other Southwest Iowa towns with high-speed fiber internet, reliable phone service, and TV options built for rural living. Real local support, unlimited data plans. You can get speeds up to 1 gig to work, stream, and stay in touch with family and neighbors. Visit metc.net to learn more and get connected today. That's going to wrap up today's show. Thank you, Gene Bohnker, for all of the great information today. Looking forward to having you back real soon. My name's Todd Studer, and we'll have you back here tomorrow morning.